fourth grade, chapter 8 test review. Here's number 1. List the next 4 multiples of 1/12. All right, so when we're dealing with multiples, we're multiplying that number by 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and so on. So if we look at 1/12, anything that we multiply by 1 gives us that number. So for example, 1/12 times 1, yes it is 1/12. Then you multiply it by 2, it's 2/12, and so on. So those are the next 4 multiples of 1/12. All right, number 2. Martha is making 3 servings of fruit salad. Sounds like she needs a bigger measuring cup. But anyway, let's keep going. How many times must Martha measure 1/4 cup of blueberries to have enough for the fruit salad? So in 1 serving, she's got to measure out 3 times, 3 of those 1/4 cup of blueberries, right? So, but the question is not for 1 serving, it's for 3 servings. So we can do repeated addition of 3 plus 3 plus 3, that gives us 9, or we can just multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. So number 3, Mickey exercises a 1/4 hour every day. How many hours in total does he exercise in 8 days? So to solve this, we can draw a diagram, in which case we have a table. So the top row is the number of days he exercises, and then the second row is how much exercise Mickey has done in total. So the first day, 1/4. Second day, 2/4, and on, and you'll notice by day 4, he has exercised 4/4, and that is also equal to 1. So if you keep going, filling this chart out, you get to day 8, and you will find how many hours does he exercise by day 8. Usual. All right, so number 4 says Molly is baking for the Moms and Muffins event at her school. She will bake 5 batches of banana muffins. She needs 1 4/5 cups of bananas for each batch of muffins. So Molly did this multiplication, and it already says part 1, there's an error. So let's see what this is. So it's 5 times 1 4/5. So she renamed this mixed number to a fraction, 10/5. Some of you are like, I think we found. I'm right. I'm pretty sure I am. It only took us 10 tries. So you're going to multiply the whole number 1 times the denominator. 1 times 5 is 5. And then you add 5 to the numerator, which is 4. So 5 plus 4 is 9. And I feel like you want to go. Are you going to come back later? You have to. We're only on number 4. And that gives us 9/5. So we're not changing the value of 1 4/5. No, we're not. We're just renaming it to 9/5 so we can multiply it. So now the second part is solving that. 9/5 times 5. You multiply the whole number 5 in the numerator. That gives us 45. And we keep the denominator the same. So it's 45/5. If we divide 5 into 45, that gives us 9. And our answer is 9 cups of bananas. Thank you. Yo. All right, let's go to number 5. Which fraction is a multiple of 1/8? So remember from number 1, we can figure out the multiples of a fraction. So the multiples of 1/8 are 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, and then we keep going. It's pretty obvious that you're going to choose the fractions that all have the denominator of. So don't get fooled. They're going to try and throw you some fancy numbers, but those won't be the answers. Number 6 is about Mimi, who is obsessed with a soccer game that lasted 1 3/4 hours. If she watches the game 8 times, how many hours did Mimi spend watching that? So what you're going to do is you can use repeated addition, 1 plus 3/4 plus 3/4, I'll do all that, or you can multiply. But before you multiply, you have to change that mixed number to a fraction. So right over here, you see 1 3/4 has to be renamed to a fraction with a denominator of 4. You multiply 4 times 1, that gives you 4, and then you add 3, and that gives you 7. So 8 times 7 is 56. You keep that denominator of 4. 4 goes into 56 how many times? Some of you are saying, oh no, it's not in my 12 chart. Help me, Miss Goodwood. You got to write it out on a piece of paper. You got to write 4 divided by 56 and figure that out. I did it for you. The answer is 14. So here we are, number 7. Theo is comparing shark lengths, and he learned that the horn shark is 2 1/4 feet, and the blue shark is 4 times that. How long is this blue shark? For that, we can draw a picture. We'll label horn shark and blue shark. If we express the horn shark as 2 1/4 feet, and then you can see right here, the blue shark is 4 times that. So we have the horn shark as 1 box, and we have to have how many boxes for the blue shark? 4. And each one, you got to fill that out. You got to put in 2 1/4. So to solve that, we can do repeated addition, and that will take a long time. I mean, it's up to you. If you get the same answer, you get the same. But you can also practice just multiplying. So we have to rename 2 1/4. So you're not, like I said before, you're not changing the value of 2 1. That's fine. So you multiply 2 and 4 right here, and then you add 1. It gives you a total of 9. So you multiply across 4 times 9, and that gives you 36/4. And if you divide 4 into 36, you get 9, and so the answer is a blue shark is 9 feet. Number 8, Joelle made a number line using multiples of 2/5. You can do the hop 4 times, or you can just multiply across 4 times 2. So it's probably a lot easier if you just learn how to multiply across, because you won't get this wonderful number line every time you do it. Number 9. Bobby has baseball practice on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If each practice is 2.5 hours a day, he said that he has 5 hours of practice a week, and we know that's this out. Bobby needs to find 3 times 1.5. But if he estimates 3 times 2, practice is at least 6 hours, which means that that number is blank then 5. That number is going to be more than 5. So Bobby is incorrect. Sorry, Bobby. You'll get it next. Number 10, look at the number line, and you're going to enter the missing fractions. So I have not done that for you, but you can see the pattern developing here. This is a number line of thirds, and you can see the pattern going up. So the next one will be 200 thirds. I'm just kidding. It is not 200. Obviously, the next one is going to be 9 thirds and then 10 thirds. So you'll fill that out on your chapter review on. Weighed 4 5/8 when it was born. At 4 months, it weighed 7 times as much. What is the equation to solve the problem? Now, here's where math writers, curriculum writers like to have a little fun with kids, because they like to throw in extra information. So you can see all these numbers in there, right? Like, oh, hey, let's throw your number and another number, and Anna is 47 years old. I'm just kidding. That's not in there. But look, something in there does not belong. So they want to know, okay, so Anna's dog started weighing out at this much, and then over time, it weighed 7 times as much. Does it really matter how old the dog was? It doesn't. So they just threw that in there to really mess you up. So you're only multiplying 4 5/8 times 7, and that. Number 12. Asta made a fraction number line to help her find 2 3/5. Select a way to express 2 3/5. Now remember, we talked about multiplying across the whole number times the numerator. So we can see right away that 2 times 3 is going to be 6. So this side needs to be, this side of the equation needs to equal to 6/5. And if you do a quick scan, you can see which one does and does not belong. So 13, yeah, that's not 6. 5 is getting close, but that 5 times 1 is not 6. That's not the answer. Right over here, 6 times 1, that gives you 6/5 right away. But I like to tell my students always check the rest just in case. 8/5, yeah, totally not the answer. Skip it, the answer. Okay, number 13, Yusuf solves a problem that had an answer of 15/4. He wrote his answer as the mixed number 3 3/4. Is his number correct? Well, let's look at 15/4. We see that if you divide 4 into 15, you get a quotient of 3. That means it went in 3 times, but not perfectly. 3 times with the remainder or leftover of 3. So that gives us 3. Here's the quotient. And the remainder of 3 creates a fraction. So 3/4 because you're dividing by 4. All right, so that was the answer there. Number 14, enter the correct product for the equations. So 3 times 5/8, and we have 3 times 6/8. So remember, you just multiply across. 3 times 5, that gives you, and then you put it over this number 8. 3 times 6 gives you, and then you put that. All right, number 15. So the lengths of different types of snakes at a zoo are shown in the table. So these snakes have names, Kenny, Bobby, and Puck. And they have different types of snakes, which is really cool. But, that's a lot of information. All they want to know is if Bobby is 3 times as long as Kenny. That's all they want. And then they throw in all this stuff. Which is really cool and everything. When I was in 4th grade, and I read information like that, I got distracted, and I would want to know what each one looked like. But when you're taking a test, don't do that. Remember, focus. So we multiply Kenny's snake, which is 1 1/3 feet, and you multiply that by 3. We're going to check the number. Oh, before we do, we have to rename 1 1/3. Remember, we retain the denominator. We multiply 3 times 1 gives us 3, and then we add 1 for a sum of 4. So 4/3 times 3 gives us 12/3. And then when we divide 3 into 12, we get 4 times. Now, is Bobby's snake 4 feet long? No, it's not. So, number 16. Number 16 says, answer your number as a mixed number. So Hank used 3.5 bags of seed to plant grass in his front yard. He used 3 times as much to plant grass in his backyard. How much seed did Hank need for the backyard? So if we multiply 3 times as much as 3.5, remember, we cannot multiply that. We can't multiply a whole number times a whole number with a fraction, a mixed number. We can't do that. We have to change, or we have to rename that mixed number into a fraction. So we retain the 2. We keep the denominator the same. We multiply 2 times 3, which is 6, and then we add 1 for 7. And then from there, we multiply 3 times 7, and we get 21 over 2, and that gives us 10.5 bags of seed that he used. This. All right, number 17, Jess made a big kettle of rice and beans. He used 1 1/3 cups of beans, and he used 3 times as much rice. Which one of these reflects what Jess is doing? So, okay, 3 times as much rice. So that means that there's more rice than beans. So right away, we cross this out because this should be careful. B looks like it fits the bill. So there are 3 times as many rice, and there's only. Here's number 18. Mrs. Burnham is making modeling clay for her class, and she needs 2/3 cups of warm water for each batch. Mrs. Burnham has 1 cup measure that has no other markings. So they're asking you, can she make something without having to guess? Because I guess when you make clay, just like baking, it's got to be precise. Let's see. 2/3 times 9, that gives us 2 times 9 is 18, and we keep the denominator. 3 goes into 18. This is a whole number because Mrs. Burnham can make 9 batches with her 1. Almost done. 19. Donna buys some fabric to make placemats. She needs 1/4 yard of each type of fabric, and she has 9 different types of fabric, and that is wrong. I was supposed to put something different there. What do you think? 1/4, right? 9 times 1/4, you write 9 times 1, and that gives you 9, and then over 4. So 9/4, and that's how much fabric you need. 9. Number 20. Mr. Tuyen uses 3/4 of a tank of gas each week to drive to and from his job. How many tanks does Mr. Tuyen use in 5 weeks? So enter your number as a fraction and as a mixed number. So if your teacher is like me, if you don't follow all the parts of the math problem, you won't get full credit. You may have to make sure that you have a fraction. And so we have 5 times 3/4. That gives us 15/4. Remember, you multiply the whole number times the numerator. It gives us 15 over 4. So that is one part of the problem, okay, or one part of the answer. That is the fraction. And then when we divide 4 into 15, you might have to write that out. If not, you can do this in your head. 4 goes into 15 how many times? 3 times. And then how many are left? 3. So we have 3/4. The answer is 3 3/4 tanks of gas. Okay. I wonder if that recorded. If it didn't, I will be very, very sad. But if it did, I hope you learned something. And oh wait, hey, come here. She is. Wait a minute. You spelled